Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I am Daniel.
I am Chris.
This is our weekly live show about things that happen in Star Wars and things that happen in other things that we like.
But there aren't any of those things happening right now.
It's mostly Star Wars.
Mostly Star Wars, yeah.
But speaking of which, random shit. Like we're gonna go see Black Panther this week, I think, and we'll be doing at some point. We're gonna be doing a spoiler stream over that. But you know, we do some MCU stuff. We do some.
Game of Thrones
yeah.
in the 2 months every 3 years when that's happening.
Don't even say that because it makes me really depressed when I think we talked about this last week maybe, but
we reached the end of House of the Dragon and there's no more for 2 years.
2 years, yeah. What the fuck am I supposed to do?
Get your dragon cocaine fix somewhere else.
I'll go start watching. I'll start making a House of the Dragon fan fiction.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how I'll deal with it.
So who's gonna fuck in your fan fiction?
Oh, well, now I actually have to think about this because I wasn't actually going to do it.
Tell you what, I'll ask again during Battlefront.
Okay. Well, now I really want to think about it. Because I know a bunch of my straight buddies definitely want an Alicent Rhaenyra thing happening.
Okay, yeah.
The dragons. All the dragons. Fuck.
Okay.
Anyway.
That's fair.
They make more dragons, and there are dragons everywhere. Yeah, so we do this every week, 6 o'clock p.m. Central. If you would be so kind to share the stream, it is a live stream.
Yeah.
We are watching the comments, so if you have thoughts and prayers about what we're talking about this week, which is Andor, put them in the comments. We'll read them when we can. And of course, as is with every week, thank you to our friend Connor at the Star Wars Hub and Star Wars Veritas, two Facebook pages you should absolutely check out because they're fucking great. And you'll never find clickbait there, which is cool because...
Because why would you waste your time?
Star Wars.
We're all dying faster than we'd like.
Yeah.
Why waste your precious time on this earth inside your mortal coil reading clickbait?
Yeah, exactly. Have you thought of that yet? And then after this, at 7, here in about 59 minutes, we will be playing some Star Wars Battlefront 2. And probably talking more about Andor because this week was a fucking banger. It was so good.
Yeah.
So join us then, and then watch us play video games, which is almost always at least a little interesting. And what else? What else do we usually say before we say other things?
I think we covered everything.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about it. So there hasn't been a lot of Star Wars news the last few weeks, and we've been doing a lot of Andor. But this week there were a couple things where I was like, oh, okay. So first of all, Sean Levy apparently is in talks with Lucasfilm to make a Star Wars movie.
Okay.
After he's done with the final season of Stranger Things, and after he has finished Deadpool 3. And this comes from Deadline.
Okay.
So it's
pretty legit.
Yeah, pretty legit. And it's obviously way too early to tell if it's anything, or even if it's anything anyone's going to care about, or if they're just going to cancel it. Which, speaking of which, Lucasfilm.
Well, but before we go on, this is kind of a weird choice because if this rumor had come out a couple months ago, I might think he was attached to the Skeleton Crew project. Just that was described as Stranger Things, but in Star Wars, wasn't it? Or am I thinking of another project?
No, there's definitely something that was something to do with Stranger Things. Yeah, you actually might be right. That'd be pretty interesting. I don't think isn't Skeleton Crew
Skeleton Crew is a series.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's explicitly a movie, then yeah, I don't know what the fuck, but
yeah. It's way too early to tell with any
probably
of this.
This is another case of Lucasfilm just throwing a bunch of shit at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Even though we talked last week about how Disney has asked Kathleen
Kennedy's not allowed to announce things
they're like
anymore.
Just stop announcing stuff because
we cancel half of it.
Yeah, you just keep canceling everything. So they apparently have a new director, but also in the same week, J.D. Dillard, who was confirmed as being attached to a Star Wars movie, is no longer doing it.
Okay.
And he said, unfortunately, no longer a thing. It was not for the lack of trying. So, and like I said, we don't have any idea what he was supposed to be doing or whatever. And so he joins Patty Jenkins and probably Taika Waititi, because I'm pretty sure his movie isn't happening either, which is too bad.
Yeah.
And then like the really good news. Are you ready for some good news?
I'm always ready for good news.
They've they've put out a pretty extensive cast list for Star Wars: The Acolyte, and it's fucking great. There are a bunch of familiar names. Probably the most famous on here, Carrie-Anne Moss, who played Trinity in the Matrix series.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, have you seen the newest, like the little reboot they did
I have not.
during the pandemic? Yeah. It's real terrible. It's really bad. Did you like the Matrix at all? Like, have you seen it?
I saw the first one and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, the first one's great. I don't think they were supposed to make any other ones. Like I'm pretty sure that one was just supposed to be it, and they're like, well, no, this shit made money, so we're gonna make more.
Well, I mean, it ended with like kind of a cliffhanger, but also like a really pretty satisfying ending. So
yeah, he became the one. He stopped the bullets.
Yeah.
Like what else do you need? Dean Charles Chapman also is in the cast who played Tommen in Game of Thrones, and I fucking love him. In addition to, we knew about Amanda Stenberg already. Lee Jung-jae, who has been in, he played Sulu in the JJ verse Star Trek. Manny Jacinto, I think his name is, who I don't know other than the show The Good Place, which is fucking hilarious, and he's really great. Also on the list, Daphne King, Jodie Turner-Smith, Rebecca Henderson, Charlie Burnett, and then the other two we already. And they released a production photo.
Oh.
Yeah, there you can see it.
Yeah, they're just standing around talking.
Yeah, they're rehearsing for a scene, I think, because like that guy's just wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
And then she's wearing a Star Wars Visions shirt, which I think is fucking great. So we still don't know what this is about. I know, like,
we vaguely know, like there was a rumor a couple months back outlining like the basic,
like the Darth Plagueis thing
of the plot.
Yeah. It's like that'd be cool if that's what it ended up being. Also, I like, at least this is a Star Wars thing that we know for sure is happening so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have production photos, so if they cancel it, we'll know that like
shit got seriously wrong.
Right. Which I don't know. They probably won't cancel it. Like after it starts, they'll probably just be like, we'll just reshoot the whole thing.
Yeah, I feel like if they're at the point of like actually constructing sets and walking and talking through scenes, that they're probably beyond the point where it's going to be canceled.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Also, Mandalorian season 3's happening in February.
Yep.
Which will be that'll be a lot of fun as well. Looking forward to. So this is what we are here for today. So we're
the main event.
Yeah,
as it were.
We are gonna look. Just fucking
everyone, calm down.
Everyone, listen. We're gonna spoil Andor episode 10. Now, if you haven't seen Andor episode 10 yet, this is going to get spoiled for you.
Yes.
Now, if you're the kind of person who would click on a video that said Andor episode 10 recap and Easter eggs, having not seen the episode, first of all, what the fuck is wrong with you? Second of all, go watch it. Go watch it and come back, and then nerd out about it. Now, if you watched it just like every other Star Wars fan did, right when they woke up, or like on the toilet at work, or whatever in between things, stick around. Put some thoughts in the comments so we can so we can talk to you about that. Also,
so we can acknowledge that you exist.
Yeah. But also, like, we're gonna spoil. Like, I'm just gonna say that again. We're gonna spoil it. Include, there are gonna be some images on screen as well. So,
Final warning.
You're warned. And let's get on with this. Let's go. Let's talk about Andor episode 10, which was called
One Way Out.
Yeah. Oh, this guy found one way out though.
Yeah. So, we open in the prison. The med tech is like zipping up the bag, the body bag that the old dude who had a stroke last episode. Olaf. Who
I like kept calling Olaf, like the
easy mistake to make.
Like the snowman guy from Frozen. Yeah.
Anyway, so zips up a body bag, puts him on the cart, and he's kind of pushing him through one of the factory rooms, and everyone's kind of turning and looking at the corpse as they go.
This was preceded by the way with a different opening credit theme, by the way,
which they do every single week.
Yeah, which this week didn't have a lot of techno at all in it. It was way more orchestral, which I thought was pretty interesting.
So Kino, fucking what's his name, Andy Serkis, is pretty shell shocked.
His whole he doesn't know what to do. Which, by the way, in my notes I have Andy Serkis as the best part of the show, and that isn't to say that this show is shit. It's so fucking good. That just shows you how good Andy Serkis is.
Because if you remember last time, he learned that people aren't getting released from prison when their time's up. They're getting transferred to a different prison.
Yeah.
And that this time around, they just happen to screw up and transfer someone from one floor of the prison to another.
Yeah. So they found out.
Yeah.
And so instead of figuring it out, they just killed 100 people.
Yes. Cassian's like, okay, we need to break out tomorrow. Kino's like, wait, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Cassian's like, we have one chance. The Imperials are seriously afraid of us. And Kino's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Cassian's like, they killed 100 men. Just because, they could.
They didn't want that shit to get out.
Yeah, they did not want...
The ramifications would be severe.
Yes. Cassian's like, okay, look. Every day that passes, they're going to be shipping in more guards here because they're terrified of what might happen, and they're going to be screaming for backup to everyone who can get in there. So we need to break the fuck out tomorrow. Kino's like, well, that would be really nice if we had a plan to prison break tomorrow. And Cassian's like, can I interest you in my plan to prison break tomorrow?
Well, since you mentioned it. By the way, right around this scene, I thought it was really interesting that they call the on-program thing. Wait, we might not actually be here yet. No, keep on going. Sorry.
Yeah.
What my thought has to do when they're in the bunks.
Yeah. So Cassian's like, look, we have this plan. It all revolves around there being a new man on the floor, which we know there's going to be because Olaf had a stroke and fucking died. So we just set up for that. We do it and everything will be great. Cassian says, I would rather die trying to take them down than give them what they want.
Yep. And then you see Andy Serkis scribbling it down.
Yeah.
He's like, I might use that later.
I guess there's a little bit of neat little choreography here. Halfway through this conversation, the voice of God says on program, and Kino's running to the door, putting his hands on his head, and Cassian pulls him back and talks to him some more. And then at the end of this, Cassian goes to the door, puts his hand on his head, and Kino kind of follows him and does the same thing.
Yes.
So they walk into the cell block. Everyone is freaking the fuck out. What happened? Where's Olaf? Is he dead? What's happening?
Did he have a stroke? I bet he had a stroke.
Cassian is poking Kino, you really got to tell these people what's going on. You're the leader. You're the one they're going to listen to. But Kino is still fucking grappling.
He doesn't know where he is. He's just like, what is my life right now?
He's grappling with what he has learned today. Cassian's like, look, Olaf died. We're all going to die in here. They're not fucking releasing us. They're just transferring us to a different prison. They're like, nah, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
They wouldn't lie to the Empire. Why would they lie to us?
Yeah, they're honest.
Yeah. Kino's like, no, actually, he's correct. We're all going to die in here. The Empire is bullshit, and we should probably do something about that. Except, the floor is lava, so let's just go to bed.
Yeah. So this is in my notes. And they've done this more than once, and I think it's a really neat little character trait for Cassian. Is that every time they do the floor is lava, he defies to the last possible second before he's finally fine. I just noticed that every time he's like, I'm gonna fucking stand here for as long as I can. Don't fucking tell me what to do.
So at ISB headquarters, Deidre and her people have successfully fouled the captured rebel ship. It's floating into the system. The local security people have found it, and they're doing
the plan here was that because they killed the pilot.
Yes, they interrogated the pilot. Now they have to kill him because they can't let him go.
Yeah,
and they're using this to bait a trap because they know where the rebel attack is going to go in. And that
Spellhouse.
Yes, and that means that they can reinforce Spellhouse and smash the rebels, and everything will be great. So Partagaz is like, yes, excellent work. One of the other guys in the room, Supervisor Lonnie Jung, he's the guy with the ginger mustache. Yes, he says, "Well, if I may make a suggestion, rather than just watching all this happen, ordinarily, if there's just this weird abandoned ship that comes in, we would be investigating that. So we should go in and investigate that just in case the rebels are watching, so that they don't get suspicious and think, maybe we shouldn't attack Spellhouse after all."
Which, from this point of view, and is a really good suggestion for these guys.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Where do you think Partagaz got his like bomb ass raincoat?
The same place that Director Krennic shops at.
Yeah, because he walked in with it. He's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm rocking this fucking raincoat today.
He looks good.
Yeah.
Partagaz is like, yes, actually, we should do that. And Deidre gets kind of into a tiff and storms out of the room.
Mm.
Back in the prison.
Yeah, it wasn't her idea. She was
Yeah.
pretty pissed about that.
Like, this was her operation.
Yeah.
Now someone's coming in trying to give advice. Fuck that. So back in prison, the lights come up. It's time to go to work.
Mhm.
Cassian wasn't sleeping when the lights come up.
Yeah.
It's open to interpretation how much he slept.
Yeah, I took it as none of them slept, and that because in the last scene, Andy Serkis says literally what he says is, "Let's figure this out," right?
Yeah.
And I kind of took that to be that like they spent the night talking about the plan.
Because as we established in episode 9, nobody's listening.
Right.
So Kino's like, all right, we're done with this prison. We're not assembling their fucking weird metal thingies
Whatever
anymore.
the fuck they are, have no idea.
We are going out. We are leaving today.
Yeah.
Either, flying away in a ship or in body bags, because we're done with this. It's like, I personally am just assuming that I'm already dead, and I'm going to go from there.
Yeah. Then I won't be disappointed if I die.
Like, we're not going to tell the night shift what's going on. They'll figure it out one way or another.
Because honestly, fuck the night shift. Those guys suck.
Yeah, that too. So they walk out. They're on the bridge in between, the cell block and the factory room.
Mhm.
And the voice of God comes on the intercom. It's like, okay, listen up. From now on, you're going to be on program while we're doing the shift change. You're not going to talk. You're not going to look at anybody. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to stand there with your hands on your head.
Yeah.
Kino's like, all right, I guess we're on program.
Okay.
Wink.
Yeah. No. Okay. So in my notes here, I wrote that the prison has made a huge mistake by letting them self-manage, and like one of the things that kind of reinforces this is that the voice of God calls on program, but no one does it until Andy Serkis tells them to. So like the prison, and they didn't mean to do this, has created for them their own leader. Like those guys don't do anything without him saying it. So it is the pinnacle of their arrogance because they keep them well fed.
Yeah.
Right. So like you can't have a prison you can have a lot of guards for a prison of well-fed people, or you can have the number of guards that they have for a prison population that's malnourished and can't do anything. But because they're idiots, they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Like they keep them really well-fed so they can work, but they don't put the guards in without anticipating an attack or something, which is really stupid.
So they get out to the factory room and they're assembling their weird metal spider things, whatever the fuck they are. It's all pretty much normal, except people are glancing around very nervously, a little bit more than usual. On Ferrex,
some people are just straight up like they're fucking shaking, like they know what's coming.
Yeah. So back on Ferrex,
probably also me.
The doctor is just walking through the streets. This woman comes up and says, "Oh, good! So glad you're coming to see Aunt Petunia. She stopped taking her medicine because she doesn't makes her stop eating or some shit." Cinta watches this doctor pass by and just kind of gives him the stink eye and then goes off.
She's keeping a careful eye, and like I'm thinking, like, is she waiting for her just to up and die so that she knows that Cassian will be there?
Could be,
because that's what I would like. Her job is to kill Cassian, right?
Yes.
So like that's what I would do. I'd be like, oh, his mom's about to die. Like he'd probably be back soon.
If you remember, Cinta said that she was going to stay in this apartment that's directly across from the friend's place, and that she would stick around to keep an eye on Cassian because that's what they're there to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could very well be what she's up to here.
Sketchy God Nevada says, when do the apes take over the planet? Oh, that's so my partner and I were, so I got to watch this episode twice today because my partner came home and then we watched it again. That's how much I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
And we were naming off all of the like all of the crazy shit that Andy Serkis has done.
Yeah.
And because he's obviously been, like, everyone knows him as Snoke. Everyone in the world knows that he was Gollum, right? I feel like not a ton of people know that he is Caesar the ape from the Planet of the Apes films, which is an insanely magnetic performance for a character that barely says anything. Like he's a fucking monkey. He only knows a couple of words, but he is the most interesting character in the whole fucking thing. Like, dude, I can't say it enough. Andy Serkis is a genius. I just fucking love him.
Also on Ferrex, there's this strange dude kind of talking to someone, and the other guy leaves, and the strange dude still watching Cinta and Aunt Petunia's house. And I wasn't sure what was up with him, because like he had a hat that looked vaguely imperial.
Yeah, I'm not really, and that also did that scene kind of like strike you as insanely short too?
Yes, but I feel like they have to be setting something up for the last 2 episodes.
Right, yeah. I'm just wondering maybe if that was supposed to be a longer scene and they're like, oh, we actually don't have time for this. Like, we have to cut this up a little bit.
We need more Andy Serkis screen time.
Right.
On Coruscant, Davo the loan shark is visiting Mon Mothma's place.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking with Tay. They're
This guy has a punchable face, by the way. He really does.
I mean, he's a loan shark. They all have punchable faces. So they're talking about the Chandrillan consulate and how, he was there once and, didn't really take it all in because he thought he'd be back a million times. And he's like, oh, this place looks old. Mon Mothma's like, yeah, they make us keep it that way. We're not allowed to redecorate.
And Mon Mothma's like, are you going to launder my money or not? For fuck's sake, I'm not talking to you about
yes,
this.
Can we get down to business? I was like, yes, good. I like it when, we're very clear about our business, but I also like to know what's around the corner. Speaking of which, how's your husband? She's like, we're not talking about my husband. He's also, like, we're not talking about your husband.
Yeah. Also, I don't like him, and we will likely be divorced soon, or I'll just fucking kill him.
So Dav was like, all right, so
probably also my daughter, too.
What exactly are you trying to get done here? And Tay's like, actually, we already talked about this. He's like, no. I'm asking the lady, what exactly do you want done? She's like, I want you to launder my money. Like, she doesn't say it quite like that.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm setting up this charity, and, I need to transfer some of my personal funds to this charity so that we can, do our job. Davo is like, yeah, so my business has gotten so good at moving money, like moving shit tons of money in ways that are utterly impenetrable to everyone else. And, that's just our prerogative because, we come from very rich families and, we have tons of money and it shouldn't be anybody's fucking business what we do with our money, least of all, not the empire.
Yeah, we should be able to fund whatever brand of terrorism, for example, we want. Though she's very careful, like she's very careful about the information she gives out. Yeah. Like I know, and so is Luthen, by the way. We're going to talk about that when we get there. But like this, if you were... I like all these scenes with Mon Mothma, I try to imagine myself as a spy and try to figure out what I could get from what she was saying. Nothing. Ever. Because she holds it up. Like she holds the image up.
So Mon Mothma's like, okay, but seriously, this is a charity and time is money, so what do we owe you? What's your fee? And Davo's like,
$1 million.
I have so much money at this point that nothing you give me could possibly make a difference. Mon Mothma's like, no, seriously, like I want to pay you so that we're done with this and I don't owe you any favors. And he's like, well, that's a problem because you're gonna owe me a favor.
I already bought Twitter. What else do I owe?
Oh God.
Sorry, we are not going there.
Finally, she's like, okay, just what do you want? And Davo's like, I would like an invitation back. And I would like to bring my son, who's 14 years old, and I'd like to introduce him to your 13-year-old daughter. And she's like, oh, no.
Oh, fuck no.
No. You see, I know how this works.
Pulls a shotgun out from behind the couch. She's like, get the fuck out.
Because Chandrilla operates on the same principles as Westeros, where if you introduce 2 teenagers, they're going to fuck.
Yeah. Which, by the way, you would expect them to do anyway, but also the whole betrothal thing, which, by the way, they mentioned the whole Chandrillan, when they mentioned Perrin.
Yes.
They mentioned the whole Chandrillan marriage customs and everything, and I was like, go on, because, like, you're kind of hinting at it, and I'm not really, because like, maybe they're just setting up the whole betrothment thing, but it sounded like...
I think that's exactly what it was, and they're also giving a little bit of backstory into why
how her and Perrin
marriage is so terrible.
Yeah, it's right.
It's because when you slam 2 teenagers who don't even know what they themselves are at each other, like they haven't grown into actual people who could be in a mature relationship with each other.
Yes.
There's
a reason that particularly in real life Earth. In most places, except for like Kentucky, children can't consent.
Yes.
Because they have no idea, like that is beyond their understanding. Like they just cannot understand something like that.
Though Davo is very quick
Fucking
to
Kentucky.
mention that, like, I'm not asking for a betrothal. I just want to introduce him. And, maybe whatever happens. And Mon Mothma, who is usually pretty irritated by her daughter, is still not going to fucking sell her off to be married to the son of a loan shark.
I loved this, and let me tell you why. I think she is irritated by her daughter as much as any parent would be irritated with their 13-year-old daughter, which I would be very irritated because I fucking hate 13-year-olds. However, you can see on her face, she loves her daughter.
Yes.
She does not want that life for her.
Yes.
And it was like, you know what? Okay, so you're probably a good mom.
Yeah.
Still kill Perrin. But you're still a good mom, and I appreciate that.
Mom Mothma's like, okay, you're going to get the fuck out right now. And Davo's like, I understand. It's a lot to think about. She's like, I'm not thinking about it. He's like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only loan shark you know.
I liked his line there. He's like, that's the only thing you said today that's untrue. And she looks at him like, you motherfucker.
And so as Tay is escorting Davo out, like, there's this lingering shot on Mon Mothma. And you see her composure kind of cracks.
Yeah.
And she starts hyperventilating.
Yeah. And she's got, like, her eyes look like they're about to well over a little bit. Yeah.
Like, she's... Because, like, that is... serious. Like, this is one of the first times that the reality of what the rebellion demands is really hitting her, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to cost her something to set things up
yes,
for the rebellion.
And it's worth pointing out how much of a foil she is to Luthen.
Yes.
By the way, who Luthen, like, he's balls deep, and like, and he has a great monologue later.
We're gonna talk about that for sure.
And she is so centered on trying to do it the good way, and like she's every turn she's finding out how literally impossible it is, and how it will never happen that way.
Speaking of Luthen, at his shop, his assistant walks in the door.
Or daughter,
whatever,
or wife.
I don't know. So anyway, she walks in, and Luthen is scanning the antiques or whatever. She says, yeah, so like there's a mark on the fountain, and then I looked at the rail, and it was cleanly broken off, so like he wants to talk, and like the audience were like, what,
who is he?
But like they're
playing the pronoun game too. It's like, dude, don't keep us in the shadow.
They have some
very
elaborate spycraft
that
they've set up,
which by the way,
to pass these messages.
How could you as a spy, like looking in, how could you possibly notice a mark on a fountain and then a broken handrail somewhere? Like, it's pretty genius.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That completely disconnected things that unless you were following the person who did them, you wouldn't even think they were consequential. Just two random acts of vandalism.
I'm going to communicate with you only through my broken handrails on my porch.
So anyway, what they take from all this is that their source wants a face-to-face meeting.
Yeah.
And Luthen's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to go talk to him. She's like, bitch, why are you being stupid? Like, at least let me go talk to him while you get on the ship and fly out system. Like, this is obviously a trap. And he's like, if this is a trap, we are so dead
We're
already.
fucked anyway.
Like, there's no way.
Cliff Hawkins says he's a gray Jedi. First of all, they don't exist. But if you're talking about Luthen, I don't think he's... I think he's like...
he's not a Jedi at all.
Obviously, like, that's the joke he's making. But he, like... He's only a good guy because of the side that he's on. Like, I don't think he's... what would that... On that like scale, he'd be like chaotic good.
I guess.
Yeah.
So back at the prison, Cassian's table is working on their shit, and like the people around it are like evenly split between fuck it, let's do this. I don't want to die in here, and then holy shit, I can't believe we're about to do this. We're all gonna fucking die.
Yeah. Sketch Guy Nevada says it's spycraft from a long, long time ago.
Yep. And a galaxy far, far away. So Cassian, takes his bathroom break, walks past Kino, who tells him one way out, which is becoming their mantra here.
I love that there's, especially after the last scene of the last episode, that there's this switch in Kino's head that flips, and he's like, oh, I guess we're going to the mat with this. I'm totally in. Let's go.
So he walks past a table where his co-conspirator is working. He gets past a wrench and tucks it up the sleeve of his prison uniform. Kino is shouting about how they're 2 racks behind and he's not going to end the shift this way.
Yeah.
Which I'm not totally certain if that was code or if it was just him trying to steady his nerves.
I think he was keeping up because they have guards that are
Yeah.
watching them, right? I think he's
Yeah.
just keeping up the facade.
Probably that. So in the bathroom, Cassian gets working on the pipe again. He's filing it down. And then,
That seemed so it seemed so futile because he's like barely scratching into this thing.
then he gets his wrench in there and starts like getting it, like jerking the two pieces apart. Giggity.
Oh yeah.
So the new prisoner is walking through the checkpoint. And he's about to get sent down. And
He looks scared as fuck, by
Yeah.
the way.
so Cassian is manages to break this pipe, and there's water leaking everywhere. The new prisoner protocol
All over
is
the
coming
floor.
through. Yes, very important. Cassian's tailmates are freaking the fuck out, like, oh god, we're actually doing this now. The guards are about to bring out the new guy. The prisoners are getting a bunch of components and like hiding them behind the metal spider things they're making. Cassian fucks with the pipe a little bit more, and now there's just water everywhere in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So the voice calls for on program, and Kino shouts on program, and everyone puts their hands on their head, and Cassian stumbles out of the bathroom, obviously dripping wet.
Yeah.
But he does his thing, and the guards don't even notice him. So the setup is they got two guards on the catwalk with blasters. They got one guard with his shock prod, cattle prod, with the prisoner on the lift. And they walk in, they're taking the lift down. Cassian exchanges some nods with Kino and his co-conspirator, and then he runs up and jams the wrench into the lift track and just kind of stops there. And Kino's like, attack the fuckers! And they start throwing shit at the guys with blasters.
I'm going to keep coming back to this a few times. I am a sucker for good prison break stories. I don't know if we've talked about this before.
Okay.
Shawshank Redemption, I fucking love that movie. It's one of the best movies ever made. Like literally out of all the movies in all of human history, one of the best ever made.
Okay.
There's this really great movie with Robert Redford and the guy that plays Tony in The Sopranos called The Last Castle.
Okay.
That is, it's about a 4-star general who is court-martialed and sent to prison, to a military prison, and starts discovering that some of the inmates are suspiciously dying, and organizes the prison population into an army. Because he's a general, like that's what he does. And like the shit, like I live and breathe for these kind of fucking stories. It's so good.
So
go watch The Last Castle, everybody.
Okay, so left something out. Like Cassian nods to one of the guys at his table, who starts an argument. Like, what did you call me? With another guy, and they start scuffling.
It's like the classic, the classic. Oh, look over here, we're gonna fight.
Yeah, and then he jams the thing in the track, and the lift stops, and all that.
It really doesn't matter that much, but they give a good performance. They're like beating the shit out of each other.
So Cassian and his buddy are trying to climb up onto the lift. The guard jams the cattle prod into the new guy's ribs, but the lift shifts, and all of a sudden the new guy has the cattle prod, and he jams it into the guard's ribs, and then he gets shot. Yeah, because there were still two guys.
His buddy, his other guy gets shot. The other guy gets shot almost immediately too.
But Kino and those guys are just throwing gears and widgets and shit.
Fidget spinners.
And the guard's like, stop it! And they start shooting them. So one of the guards is like, you gotta turn the fucking floor on, man. These guys are killing us. You gotta make the floor lava. And Kino's like, get on the fucking tables. We're all gonna die. They turn on the floor. The floor is lava, and half the prisoners are still on the floor. But there's water on the floor. And apparently the water shorts out the floor so that it can't be lava anymore.
The entire system, I think. That part of the system.
Yeah. So then Kino's looking down at it I should be dead right now, but I'm not.
Dude,
let's fucking throw more shit at these guys.
This shot is might be my favorite one in the whole episode because it's because of the short, all the lights go out, and earlier. Andy Serkis was talking about assuming that he was going to be dead anyway, right? They do the floor is lava protocol. He looks down and he's like, I'll be damned, I'm not dead. And there's this fucking push on his face when he's looking down at his feet, and he looks up, and it just 3 or 4 seconds of just his beautiful fucking face before he screams attack, and it's oh yes, give me more of that.
So the guards are like, shit, we still gotta shoot these guys, so they keep shooting. Cassian manages to climb up on the catwalk. He knocks one of them down, grabs his gun, shoots the other guy.
He's like James Bonding all over the place,
So the prisoners start climbing up the lift to get up. Cassian kills the other guy, and then they'll break out in the control room. In level 4, the floor directly below,
it starts raining.
There's water dripping from the ceiling. The guys look up like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Which, by the way, if that were me, my first thought would be like, okay, this whole facility is like in water.
We're in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah,
we're all gonna fucking die.
Are we gonna die?
So the prisoners start grabbing guns. I'm pretty sure all these blasters are the same ones that the rebels have at the beginning of episode 4.
Yes, on the Tantive. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're getting organized. They're shooting guards. Cassian's like, come on, Kino, we gotta go upstairs and get shit done. Everyone else go run around and break prisoners out and kill guards. So the guards at another checkpoint are like, what the fuck's going on with the water? Like, we got an emergency here. We gotta fucking lock it down. We gotta fucking kill the prisoners and do our shit.
Yeah.
All the prisoners that get broken out are like, yeah, fuck it, let's get out of here. So Cassian and Kino run up the stairs. The voice of God comes on the intercom. It's like, everyone, chill the fuck out. Go back to your rooms. Like, we're gonna turn the floor into lava in like 5 seconds. You all better just chill the fuck out and be good.
Yeah.
And Kino's like, actually, you're not gonna turn the floor into lava, or else I'm gonna shoot you.
Yeah. It's a bit too late for that. Yeah.
Kino's like, turn it off. And he's like, that could have so many meanings.
Dude,
Kino just turns to the next guy and shoots him.
I laughed when he's like, turn it off. And he's like, oh, that could mean anything. And he's like, oh, I'm going to kill your fucking boyfriend then. And he fucking drops him right there.
Now, turn it off.
Yeah.
And the third guy in the room is like, actually, okay, I'll turn it off.
He's like, I'll do it.
Cassidy walks over. Actually, I'd like you to turn the entire power system off, not just the floors, but everything. And he's like, if I turn it off, it all runs on hydropower. It'll take months to get working about it. And Cassidy like points the gun at his head. He's like, I can't even turn it off.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one who turns off the power.
I love how Cassian, like, he gives it, he's like, but it'll take forever to fix. And Cassian's like, you don't understand what's happening right now. Like, no. We don't give a fuck how this works.
Your priorities are not in order here.
We do not work for the prison.
So Kino's like, all right, you motherfucker, you turn the power off. And guy's like, fine, if you're going to shoot me. So he turns off the power. The lights in the entire place go down. And they come up a few seconds later, like, yeah, that's the backup power, which apparently we can't turn the floor into lava on backup power. So you're good. Cassian's like, all right, you two get the fuck on the wall, on program. They're looking at each other like, is this guy serious?
Yeah,
like,
it was a nice little touch, by the way. Yeah. He's like, yeah, you're the prisoner now.
I'm the boss.
Yeah,
on program.
Yeah.
Cassian's like, all right, Kino, get on the intercom. Tell him what the fuck to do. Like,
give an inspirational speech.
You do this every fucking day. Just tell them what to do, and they'll do it. And Kino's
rally
like,
the troops.
All right, hi, I'm Kino from floor 5.
Kino's like, I didn't have anything prepared.
I really didn't write a speech here, so I'm just making like, well, I'm at the control room and we have control, I guess. And Cassian's like, dude, this speech sucks.
This
like,
is a bad speech.
Put some heart into it.
It's like that speech that fucking Cyril tries to give to all the guys in that first episode.
Yeah. Whatever.
No more fucking lava floors.
Right now, you can get the fuck up, walk out of your cell or whatever, and ain't no one gonna stop you. So you should just fucking get up the stairs. Like, you help your buddies if they're looking lost or confused. Just fucking get everybody up the stairs all the way to the top so we can get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm. So we're kind of making light of this because that's what we do. Like, we joke about shit like this, but this
is actually well done.
It's a powerful speech, and it's underscored with some amazing music, and it gets your pulse racing, and it's so good. And
it cuts to different shots of the prisoners running through.
And there's that one guy that has to know if the floor is not lava anymore, and so he jumps out and he's like, "Oh, I'm not dead."
Hey,
all right,
cool.
Yeah.
So he's like, we're never going to have a better chance. Like, the guards can't stop us. And, like, he looks at Cassian, and he's like, I would rather die trying to take them down than do what they want. And Cassian's like, you took that from me, you motherfucker. He's like, look, everything in this prison is fucked. They're not letting us go. They're transferring us to other places, and no one knows about it. It's all completely fucked. So we're just going to break the fuck out and not worry about it.
Kino, like, walks away from the mic, and he's like, wait, does anyone know what we build here? Can anyone tell me what we build?
Yeah. So he ends this by saying "one way out" a whole bunch of times, and eventually the entire prisoners are all shouting "one way out." On the way, like, this bunch of prisoners slams into a door. They're looking through, and the camera pans down and shows a shit ton of security guards who are just utterly terrified.
Yeah, it was like Josh Hawley in the January. Oh wait, we're not gonna talk about that either.
So the prisoners eventually get up to the docking bay where Cassian arrived. And they're like, hey, there's no ship here, but we can jump in the ocean down there, and I guess that's how we get out. We just fucking swim to shore. It'd be great. And so like they start jumping out, and Kino's like, this is actually a problem because I never learned to swim.
Yes.
Cassian's like, well, shit, that kind of sucks. Ah!
Yeah, he falls. Okay, so this is kind of heartbreaking.
Yes.
It's some terrible irony, and it's also like it's one of the outcomes from having to hastily plan an escape like this, where they didn't have time to consider what do we do when we get there.
Yeah.
Like, is there going to be a ship? They didn't have time for it. They were just everything was so instinctual, and if we live to do the next thing, then we do it, and then if we live to do the thing after that, then we do it. It's just like Row One.
Yeah,
where they're
we
like,
go and we go until we can't go anymore.
Right.
So Cassian gets knocked off into the ocean. Kino is just kind of looking down at the ocean like, well, shit.
Yeah. Oh, also throughout this whole escape thing, he and Melshi are like doing this buddy cop thing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not. It doesn't surprise me at all that Melshi ends up being a part of the intelligence branch of the rebellion, and they've really got each other's backs the whole time.
So there's this zoomed out shot where you see the prisoners like fanning out and swimming to shore, and
how fucking far away is this prison from landfall?
I don't know. I mean, the floor is lava. They probably didn't need to make it that far out, just enough to like discourage people or trap people who can't swim.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, how far did they have to swim before they got somewhere where they didn't have to swim anymore? Because I would not be able to make a swim like that.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on Coruscant, Lonnie, the ginger mustache man, is walking through some alien-filled markets and alleyways.
He's dressed real fucking sketchy, isn't he?
He's not wearing his
He's got his coat on. He's got, like, a different color fake mustache.
Does he also have like a scarf on or something?
Yeah, he's trying real hard not to look like straight out of the ISB.
Yeah. So eventually he gets to this elevator and he walks in and he presses 3 very specific buttons and then presses the go button. And he reaches up on top of the light fixture and pulls down this little Bluetooth earpiece that he puts on. And Luthen's like, hey, so if this is a trap, you should just, press the buttons for 215 and save us both some trouble.
He's like, you have to tell me if this is a trap. Legally, you have to tell me.
Yes, you're legally obligated. Also, we're on an express elevator.
If you're a cop,
so,
you have to tell me you're a cop.
You're not going to be interrupted. We can talk. So first of all, congratulations. And Lonnie's like, what are you congratulating me on? Luthen's like, your daughter. You have a child.
Your wee little baby.
Yeah.
That I'm sure you love and would hate to lose.
Lonnie's like, okay, this is really freaky. Like, why are you saying this? And Luthen's like, well, you haven't called me for like a year. I just thought we should catch up before we got to business.
Because look, bitch, it's a threat. Okay.
Lonnie's like, this is really unfair that you've been spying on me all this time. Like, did you ever stop to think about how I would feel about this? And Luthen's like, I think about you all the time.
I was really half expecting Luthen to be like, no, I can't say I think about you a lot. But after this conversation, I believe that he does.
Luthen's like, okay, so why are we meeting? What do you got for me? Lonnie's like, okay, so there's this ISB director named Deidre, and she's really fascinated about this rebel. She's codenamed Axis, and
she's closer than you fucking think.
She's looking into the stolen equipment and Aldani and Ferrix. There's a big whole mess where
like
she's looking for the thief.
She knows, but she doesn't know that she knows yet.
Luthen is like, oh, okay, well, that's great. You should encourage her to do that.
Yeah.
Lonnie's like, wait, what? Luthen's like, yes, because it's a complete waste of time, and she should waste her resources continuing to do that. Lonnie is like, so did you have anything to do with Aldani? Luthen's like, of course not. Yep. Oh, those fucking amateurs. They got by on luck, and that is not the way my organization does
this. Is the second time he's lied about this, by the way. It's,
it's interesting to me because, like, it shows Luthen doesn't really have an ego about this stuff.
Also, he doesn't want credit for it. Like, in his monologue, he kind of mentioned something like this.
He's explicitly about results, and he doesn't care who gets the credit.
I think also he doesn't know if he can trust anyone.
I think that's also
so
true.
He's like, I'm just going to deny it,
Luthen's like, okay, but seriously, why are we talking? Lonnie's like, well, the ISB captured this pilot who's working for Anto Krieger, and they know about Spellhouse, and they set it all up, and like if the rebels attack Spellhouse, it'll be a massacre, so you really need to call it off. Luthen is like, that's interesting. I think instead of that, we're not going to tell Anto Krieger anything, and we're just going to let his people die.
We're just going to let him fucking die.
Because it is way more valuable to us to have a source inside the ISB that the ISB doesn't know that we have.
And who they trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rather than, keeping some idiots around.
Also, have you met Krieger? He's a total dickbag.
Yeah. Luthen is like, really, I'm doing this for you. Because, like, you're the one who gave us this information. And, like, if we did anything about this, like, they would know it was you.
Yeah.
And Lonnie's like, this is really fucked up. Like, who am I working with?
There are a couple of things that he says to him that I like. I really believe that. So, like, the one thing he's like, it's just 50 guys. Which, by the way, when he said that, I was like,
50?
that's a lot. That's a lot of guys.
I mean, the Aldani thing was like 7, 8 guys.
Yeah, and he couldn't care less if they all died. But then he said, the 50 guys, they're worth one of you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so do you like this guy? Like, because I think he actually really appreciates, like, he understands the sacrifice that he's making.
Well, consider that last time when Luthen was talking to Saw Gerrera, he rattles off like 3 different resistance cells that he could have talked to, and Saw's like, yeah, but those are all dipshits who can't agree on politics and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I think Luthen has more rebellion cells than he knows what to do with.
Maybe.
And he values having the source inside the ISB more. So
I mean, that's a great source to have.
Yeah,
though.
so that he knows where to direct his cells.
Yeah,
and where to hit.
I guess what I'm saying is that I don't think any of the flattery that he lays on this guy here is needless flattery.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. I think he's at like being genuine.
I think he's sincere.
Yeah.
So the elevator stops and doors open. And there's Luthen looking fucking majestic.
Oh,
on
this
this
shot is
windswept
so
bridge.
cool.
He's gotten rid of his wig, so he has this close-cut hair. He has this awesome black cape. It's so good.
A little narrow catwalk is It's like blowing in the wind and shit. And he's standing like a badass.
And once again, we have this narrow catwalk with no railings.
Yeah.
Because that's just how Star Wars works.
Yeah, you fucking take a risk.
So Luthen's like, okay, but seriously, why are we talking? Like, nothing you've told me has been all that particular.
I also like how, by the way, I like how he has this elevator like on a remote control.
Yeah.
Like he's like, you know what? I'll bring this guy if I want to talk to him, if I want to see him.
Yeah. Lonnie's like, okay, look, I want out. Like, I have a kid now, and I didn't think about how that was going to change things, but it really fucking changes things for me, and I can't do this anymore. Luthen is like, look, we took a vow. Like, we were going to see this
Bro,
through.
I told you not to fucking have kids.
Yeah.
Like,
Lonnie's like, I've given you all the information I have. I have fulfilled my vow. I've been giving you 6 years of information from inside ISB. Like, I was all on my own this entire time. I had no friends there. Like, it was fucking terrifying.
no one likes me because I'm a ginger.
Yeah. Luthen's like, okay, so, like, what's your plan here? Like, you were just going to give me all this information and then fucking disappear into the ether? Lonnie's like, well, you see, I would tell the ISB that, like, my health isn't very good, so I'd be able to resign and I would go, work for my wife's family's company. He's like, Luthen's like, okay, that's bullshit. Like, that's bullshit. I know that's bullshit. You're way too valuable to let you walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the ISB is not going to let you go because you know too much. I can't let you go because you know too much. Like, you're trapped here. Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but you are going nowhere. Luthen is like, I'm not only that, but like, I have given you information that you've used with the ISB to, cement your credentials here and prove that you're a valuable contributor. So, like, don't fucking tell me about all this shit.
Yeah.
You have a daughter. I'm sure you love her very much. So that's why I'm sacrificing Anto Krieger's men, because them dying will mean that your daughter still has a father tomorrow. Lonnie is like, dude, I've been a double agent inside the fucking ISB for 6 years. Does that sacrifice mean nothing to you? Luthen is like, I constantly think about it.
Luthen, like, straightens out his hair and he's like, listen.
Like, I am I wish I had 1,000 more heroes like you, because I need the work you are doing right now. Lonnie is like, yeah, that's great. What the fuck are you sacrificing to be here? And Luthen fucking straightens up. He's like, bitch, I will tell you what I have sacrificed.
He pulls something out and, like, opens it. And he's like, okay, here are the things I've sacrificed.
Like, I have given up any chance I have for a normal life. I have given up peace. I have given up, like, love. I've given up family. I have
He says something about his brain being a sunless
void.
yeah, or
something
something.
like
Yeah, it's like it really like some of the stuff he says.
Like,
It's
he
like,
has
damn,
a
that's-
line about how he's devoted his life to this calculation he ran years ago, and the only result is that he's damned
yeah.
for all the things he's done.
And then the other thing he says that really hits me is when he's talking about burning himself to create a sunset that he'll never see,
a sunrise.
or sunrise that he'll never see.
Like he's condemned to fight his enemy with their own weapons.
Yeah.
And like it's
and he hates it. Like he hates doing it
yes.
this way. Yeah.
It's a great monologue, and if you haven't seen the episode, you should really go watch it just to see this. Like he is sacrificing everything for this rebellion. He's
also, like, no one to say thank you either.
Yeah.
That's another thing he says is that like I'm never going to get any gratification for this. Like no one's ever going to know what I'm doing, or that like if this succeeds, that I'll be the reason why it did. Like those are all the sacrifices I've made.
He's like, look, Lonnie, I really need you to stay with me. I need all the heroes I can get. And then he pulls up his remote, closes the door, sends him on his way.
Yeah, now get the fuck out of my face.
Meanwhile, on Narkina 5, Cassian and Melshi are, running through. They made it to shore. They're running through like some sand and rocks, and there's like trees that don't have anything. I think is this supposed to be like a volcanic wasteland or something?
I thought it was a beach.
Or something.
At first, I thought it was snow, just because of the like how the color correction for the scene was.
Yeah.
But it's clearly sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's nighttime, and in the background there's searchlights, and you can vaguely hear some TIE fighters flying around. So like they're very clearly being looked for.
Like 3 or 4 moons.
Yeah.
Like shit, a lot of fucking moons.
Yeah. Cassian and Melshi are running around, and that's where the episode ends.
Yeah. And what a great fucking episode. I think
my god.
There are 2 more, I think.
Yes.
And this was one of those like everything boils over thing, and it like I say this every week, but like if this is what they made Star Wars into, like imagine Obi-Wan Kenobi as a series that had this tone and this kind of writing and this much time. There was like where it was shot on location, and the episodes were longer, and the season generally was longer, so they didn't have to cram everything into a 25 fucking minute episode. Like imagine an Obi-Wan Kenobi story that was like that. It would have been amazing. It would have been jaw-droppingly amazing.
A lot of the time we mentioned that George Lucas quote about how he envisioned Star Wars as entertainment for children.
Yeah.
And I heard someone say this week or last week that Andor is Star Wars for adults.
Yeah.
Which sounds pretentious as hell, but it's also not totally wrong.
Yeah.
Like this show deals with some pretty adult themes that I don't think any Star Wars property has before.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Serkis shoots a guy in cold blood. Like, and it's not the first time in the show that it's happened.
Like, our hero shot 2 men in cold blood in the very first episode.
Yeah. This is the problem I've always had with that. Because I get that George Lucas's idea was that it was for kids. The thing is that the kids that you made it for grew the fuck up. And you hooked them. Like, you made them into super fans. And Lucas isn't in charge of this shit anymore anyway, but like sure, keep making Star Wars for kids. Like that's fucking awesome. Like it's make sure that kids have the same experience with Star Wars that I did when I was a kid. I'm all for it. However, the kids that you originally made it for have grown up and they're still fucking Star Wars fans, so it's all right to have a part of Star Wars for them too.
Yeah.
And this is it. This is absolutely it, and I've loved every fucking second of it. That's it.
I don't know. Is there anything else, or should we just leave it there?
Oh, yeah. I don't have any. I mean, there's not a lot. So, like, when you have this many episodes, like all the Easter eggs end up being technology that we've seen in other things, but like we've seen so much of it now that it's like, oh, it's that one blaster that they've been using the whole time. So. Oh,
I was also supposed to ask you about the prison that has this bizarre fascination with the number 7.
Okay, so yeah, it is really weird. They're obsessed with it, and I'm not sure they'll ever answer it because I'm not sure it's important. But I figured one of 2 things: either it's like one of those Lost things, like the show Lost, where like it's the weird numbers and shit, and like. Or it could just be that 7 is like the perfect number to have everything packed into like this certain space.
Could be.
And like you have the number of people it ends up being, or like how they can like it's just like for efficiency, where like everything just kind of works out space wise.
Yeah.
Which would be very Empire, very like efficient and everything.
Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know. Or maybe it's like some kind of weird Sith magic, and Palpatine's like, it must be 7.
I refuse to believe Palpatine had anything to do with this prison.
Yeah, he probably doesn't know it exists.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. As long as his shit gets built, he doesn't give a fuck where it comes from. All right, we are going to be resetting here for some Battlefronts, so please join us here in a couple of minutes. Thanks for joining us here and saying hi in the chat. Even the sex bots said something, and the sex bots have weighed in.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So